What is going on, Peep Squad? This video is about Superman and Lois. I didn't introduce myself yet. My name is Luke, and I'm joined by Mike from Comic Book Fans.
Yep, episode 4 and 5, right?
4 and 5, yeah. Episode 4 is called Haywire. Episode 5 is called The Best of Smallville.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's something, I don't know if you, I don't think you mentioned it in the episode 3 review, but the you know, like that one like super soldier guy or whatever that came after that one woman that Lois was getting that story from. That actor is Daniel Cudmore, who played Colossus in X-Men 2, X-Men 3, and X-Men Days of Future Past. Just like a little random Easter egg there.
Cool. Oh yeah. So episode 4 is basically where so Superman obviously isn't in Metropolis as much because he's moving to Smallville, and so they are kind of transporting a lot of the inmates of, I don't know if the jail, the name of the jail in Metropolis.
Yeah, I forget.
But yeah, so one of these guys is Thaddeus Kilgrave. He is a very minor Superman villain.
Yeah,
basically like a mad scientist. He built a bunch of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Metropolis Penitentiary is what it's called.
Oh, so, well, fair enough.
Yeah. And General Lane, Lois's father, was like, hey, we need Superman to kind of escort him, but he says no because he wants to spend more time with his family.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, Lois wants Clark to show up at the town meeting to oppose Morgan Edge to reopen the mines. But because Kilgrave breaks out during the meeting time, Clark can't show up, and so Morgan Edge wins the mines or whatever.
Yeah, and it seems like there's some, like, I kind of suspected this the whole time, but it seems like there's something in these mines and these towns that Morgan Edge is after.
Yeah,
and actually, kind of funny thing, we didn't mention it before, but Morgan Edge, like, he is a comic character. And apparently, like, he started out in the comics being like just kind of a side character, but kind of being a good guy. He bought the Daily Planet and was basically like their boss for a while. But then I guess in like after Crisis, because there's like sort of like pre-Crisis and then after Crisis, post-Crisis, he apparently was kind of like the leader of Intergang, which is basically just like super powered mob. But another thing that kind of sets this show apart, which kind of makes it feel like kind of a reboot and not part of the other, like the rest of the Arrowverse, is that Morgan Edge did already show up in Supergirl, played by Adrian Pasdar. He's been in like a lot of other superhero stuff, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was General Talbot, and he's played the voice of Iron Man in a lot of cartoons, and he was in Heroes and stuff like that. So it seems like they really are like rebooting everything, and this is like this version of Superman is like a totally different version.
Yeah, and so basically what the mind is Xcryptonite, and so if you remember Supergirl's cat, that's how he get his powers. It basically gives kryptonite Krypton powers to non-Krypton people, or beings, I guess, in the case of Streaky the cat. But basically that's kind of what's going on in the show, is these characters, these people are experimenting with it. Basically various characters are getting powers, and they don't know how to deal with it, like that one high school kid and Derek Powell and stuff like that.
It seems like Morgan Edge and his cronies or whatever are giving people powers, but for like with that Xcryptonite, like you said, but for the most part it's very unstable. Like we saw, I think later in episode 5, like that one guy basically explodes, and then that one teenager, I forget his name, but Jordan and Jonathan's classmate, he's very like unstable. He doesn't know how to. It seems like he's like vibrating through everything, you know. He can't control it. But what's interesting is his Morgan Edge's assistant, like Leslie Lur or something like that. She seems to have powers, but she doesn't seem to have any problem like controlling them. They don't seem unstable, so I wonder what that's all about.
Maybe she's just had them longer, and so she knows how to control it, or maybe she's not entirely human. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
And so moving to the next episode 5, Sharon Powell shows up with her son, and he's all cool and everything's fine. He says he was in a coma, so he doesn't remember a whole lot. And so the lady who owns the Gazette is tracking Derek with his phone, and she follows him to, I believe, the Harvest Festival thing, and then like he like can't control his heat vision, and so he like burns
Oh
the whole
yeah,
building down.
yeah. It was the it was like the donation center for the Harvest Fest thing. It
Right.
was like at some church, I think, or something. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he can't control his heat vision. And then after he blows it up, Superman shows up, or Clark shows up, and he
Right.
basically like hides in the rafters and like basically saves a guy's life by using his like freeze breath.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure Lana Lang's husband, I forget his name, but he ends up noticing that like there's frost on the wood.
Right.
He's like, what? So that's kind of, I wonder if they're gonna follow that storyline at all throughout the thing. If he figures out something screwy is going on with like Lois and Clark or something.
And at the same time, Captain Luthor from the other planet introduces himself to Lois.
Right.
And because on his Earth they were married, which is interesting.
That was kind of a twist. I didn't really see that coming until he like started tracking her down.
Right.
Actually, I didn't see it coming until like towards the end of the episode where he saw like her and Clark together, and he seemed upset.
Right.
I was like, oh shoot.
And then Chrissy, the lady from the Gazette, she follows Derek, and he meets up with the Edge's assistant, Lar. And she's re-exposing Derek to the Xcryptonite radiation to try to stabilize his powers. And then Superman shows up and he starts fighting Derek, but then Luthor shows up as well, so there's like a three-way fight. On like a cornfield or whatever. Only Derek is really hurt, and the other two just kind of leave.
I don't really know what Luthor thinks he's gonna do. Like he pulled out some little gun or something, but it's like, I mean, he smashed your suit. I don't think you can really do a whole lot at this point, bro. And I don't think he and Superman actually like. I don't think he was able to confront Superman during that time at all. Didn't he show up like after Derek exploded or something?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, so they still haven't really fought since Superman destroyed his like suit drone or whatever.
And then the episode ends with Tag is the name of the kid with the vibrating hand.
Okay, right.
He shows up and he shows up to Jordan. He's like, "What did you do to me?" So they seem to think that Jordan's heat vision caused the powers, which is kind of ridiculous, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, ever since I think episode 3, Jordan's been like, like, oh, it's my fault. Like, I think they said something like they thought that there were some minerals at that quarry, and he like stirred them up or something when he shot the heat vision. But it's like still like, how come Tag was the only one affected? I guess he was closest to the explosion. I don't know. But then at the end, Tag shows up and is like, he basically slaps Jordan around as like, well, what have you done to me? And then that's like the cliffhanger ending, before, we don't get to see more episodes until like May, like towards the end of May.
Yeah, like May 19th, I think. I'm not really sure.
Something like that. There's a few things going on, like kind of the teen dramas part of it. Like nothing super interesting to talk about. Like I'm personally like am enjoying it. Like I'm not like excited about it, like ooh, but I don't find it that boring either. I don't know, but Sarah and Jordan are obviously kind of getting together or whatever. She broke up with her dumb boyfriend, and but this whole time also it seems like Jonathan's really struggling with Jordan kind of taking over football. Because Jordan apparently that was confusing at first to me because Jor-El in the Fortress of Solitude was like he doesn't really have powers, but then it seems like he does. But apparently they explained later that he basically just has like kind of like enhanced strength, like not quite Captain America level, but sort of like it's definitely like he's definitely really strong for his size. So that's how he can do so well at football, which is kind of interesting. It really sucks for Jonathan. Like I've already said, because football was like his main thing, and now Jordan kind of took that. But then I also, sympathize with Jordan too, because he hasn't really had anything like that his whole life, But Jonathan's struggling a lot, and then his girlfriend dumps him in episode 5 right before the Harvest Fest, and Jonathan's kind of like really losing it a little bit, and he like yells at Clark and his dad, and he's like, I hate it here, yada yada, I want to go back. And even when Steve wants to like go back home to live with some of his friends or something, and Clark's like, no, you're like 14, but by the end of the episode, like Jonathan, like he drinks with his stupid friends, and they end up getting drunk at the Harvest Fest or whatever, and by the end of it, it's kind of resolved, sort of by like, throughout this whole episode too, they're doing these flashbacks to young Clark, who apparently started doing superhero stuff when he was like 13, 14, which is like, I mean, all right, it's like, why not, I guess. But that I guess the whole point of those flashbacks was to kind of show that Clark kind of knows how Jonathan feels in a way.
Yeah.
And so by the end, he's a little more easy with him and kind of makes a deal with him. Is like, hey, just wait out this year. If you still, really are not fitting in and nothing's working out, then we'll work something out. Which, the thing I do like about this show is, there is obviously the superhero aspect to it, but it is an interesting thing to this sort of the family dynamics and the way, there is basically, Superman and Lois Lane are raising these kids, and it's almost like a family drama, but with superhero stuff, which, could get really stupid really fast. So far, they've handled it pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, it's a little more interesting of a concept than just, superhero show.
Right.
But yeah, I think the only thing I had a problem with was for some reason, the actress they cast as Martha Kent just didn't work for me. Like not old Martha Kent, but like Martha Kent in the flashbacks. I don't know why it just didn't work. It just didn't feel like Martha, but it's like a really minor gripe. No. So, geez, yeah. No, I guess we're stuck with Supergirl until May. Not that I'm gonna watch it.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that is our review, whatever you want to call it, for this. Superman and Lois, episode 4 and 5. I guess there's 16 episodes, so they've still got quite a few.
About 11 more. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, alrighty then.
Yeah.
I guess.
Make sure to check out the links in the description for our podcast, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
See you, everyone.
Ciao.